Welcome to a Creative Approach podcast. I'm your host, Karen Poirier-Brody. I'm delighted today to have as my guest Elena Lai Etcheverry, the founder and director of Charity Wings. My first introduction to Elena was through the craft world via a program that Fiskars once sponsored called Fisketeers. Over several years, I've come to know her as a dear friend. I've always been impressed with the vision and energy of this remarkable woman who wants to bring the healing nature of art and of crafts to everyone. I'm pleased to share with you today our conversation about her passion and work and her creative approach. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Creative Approach podcast. My guest today is Elena Etcheverry, the founder and director of charitywings.org. And, well, we'll get into that a little bit today. Now, Elena's been a longtime friend, and I first met her because of charity. I was a fortunate person to have won a Cricut digital it's a die cutting machine that was one of the original ones that used cartridges to cut out patterns for scrapbooking and card making. And I had just bought one, and then I won one. And I had this extra machine that I didn't need at all. And through Fisketeers, folks said, give it to Elena for her charity. And from Elena, I found Charity Wings, which was then Scrapbook Royalty. And I volunteered to help her out at an event in Orlando. And my goodness, that's years ago. So right now, I'm sure everyone else wants to know exactly what is this charitywings.org and what is it that you exactly do. So I think we should tell them a little bit about charity and maybe how it got started and just exactly what happens there.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Karen. That's quite an introduction. And I forgot that's how we met, is through the Fisketeers thing.
Yeah.
It was so long ago. Yeah.
It was.
So Charity Wings, we're a nonprofit organization, and we're a DIY makerspace. So it's a huge open studio, and you come with your ideas or your imagination, and anything you want to make, pretty much anything you want to make, you can come and make at Charity Wings. All the supplies are there for you, the space, the tools, the inspiration, the guidance, everything is there for you to create. And we want to make sure that everyone has a place to have their creative expression and have a creative outlet. And then on top of that, we also have programs for other nonprofits where we do free or extremely low cost classes for people with developmental disabilities, wounded warriors, cancer support groups, all sorts of different children's groups, adults groups, support groups. Everyone has a place at the Art Center.
Yeah, and you were saying, of course, these things for nonprofits are free, and everything is free, material, space, and everything. But of course, people who use the space who are not a part of a nonprofit don't have to pay very much. It's a small fee, right?
It's very small. So for members, it's $20 a month to become a member. And being a member is not like joining a gym. It's not a membership that, you pay every month and then you feel guilty because you never go. Like, this $20 a month supports our programs, allows us to keep running, allows us to keep our organization going. And then if you're a member and you want to use the space, you can use it for $5 a day. So you come, all the supplies are included, all the tools. We have people on hand to guide you and help you with whatever you want to make. And it's just $5. So you can support just by giving your $20 a month or more if you choose. Or you can support and come use the space, which is, we of course want people to come and use our space and enjoy it and be enhanced by all the things you can do there.
Right. Well, some of us don't live in Southern California to be handy, although I have been to the Art Center and I think it's fabulous and have done some fun things there. But sending that money to support this effort is really, I think, very worthwhile. And that's one of the reasons I have you here, Elena, is because I really do want to support what's going on. You also do special events, don't you, there?
We do a lot of special events. Well, we do a lot of birthday parties.
Of course.
That's always fun. Birthday parties, baby showers, wine and paint nights. We do fundraisers. I do a lot of events with the community. We host chamber mixers. We host the Boys and Girls Club auction committee. So we host their meetings here, and we do all the decorations for their annual gala. We do that here at the Art Center. We also have Party Arty Nights, which is a special event that we do every month just for members. So if you're a supporter, even if if you're out of town, it makes it harder, but we still appreciate you so much. But for people that are local that maybe don't really find their creative time is as, I don't know, some people just don't really make time for creativity. So we have a party every month that they can come to, and it's free for them. And it's just a little project, and it's guided. And it's so much fun because they get to learn a new technique, walk away with something that they've made. And it's always something different. And the volunteers run that program as well. So it's really fun. And then, of course, we have Vinda Art, which you have been so kind and wonderful to come to the last 2 years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's our annual wine dinner that is super amazing, awesome. And so that is once a year in October, and we transform an empty shell space into some wonderful themed wine dinner.
Oh, and it's always so beautiful, and it's really fun, and lots of really interesting people.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, the whole community comes out to support that one. So we usually have city council members there, lots of prominent people in the community that really, when they show up, it helps us so much because, they can use their influence to help support us and keep us going.
Yeah, and there are events that aren't just local because you do a wonderful thing once a year with the AFCI, I guess we call it now, the Association for Creative Industries, which used to be known as the Craft and Hobby Association, and at Creativation. And do you want to talk a little bit about those wonderful, it's videos and it was interactive, right? With the various manufacturers and designers.
Well, it's gone through several renditions.
Yeah.
And we do keep trying to change it up. But this year we did it as a live stream through Facebook. And that was our first time doing it all through Facebook. And we did it through the CHA Facebook page, which is now AFCI. And so it was really, really cool because our reach is small. I mean, we're a small nonprofit organization. And when you throw the word charity in there, it just changes everything in people's minds. So we don't have the reach that like the Craft and Hobby Association or AFCI has. So it was really cool to stream through their Facebook page. But we go from booth to booth, sponsored booths that come on as sponsors. And then we go into their booth, do a booth tour so you can see what the booth looks like, which is really cool because if you've ever been to a trade show, you know that these companies pull out all the stops to set up this really inspirational, cool booth. They want you to, first of all, they want you to buy their product and they want you to love their product. But we go in there, we do a tour, we do an interview with someone who represents the company, and always there's a giveaway. So we try to inspire people, show them new products, and then as someone watching, you are entered to win prizes.
Exactly. So that's for everybody at large. And now the prizes, are they specific just to the United States, or do you ship them out of the country?
It depends. Some manufacturers can ship, some can't ship out of the country, which I've learned. Like glue manufacturers and spray paint and stuff, they're really highly regulated, especially for shipping. So
yes.
Some of them aren't allowed to ship out of the company, so they can't. But most of them do. They ship internationally. So, if you're watching and then of course we can always ship to a friend, or a lot of people, it's very, very sweet, but a lot of people do, like you did way back when, donate their prizes back to Charity Wings so we can use them for auctions or use them at the art center.
Right, which is awesome, and because there's wonderful things, but I think for people who want to know more about the craft industry, that's a wonderful opportunity each year to spend some time, and those are recorded, right? So people can go back and look at.
They can go back, yeah. So all the ones on Facebook are on the CHA Facebook page, and it was a learning curve. It was our first time doing it through Facebook Live, and Facebook Live is its own little animal. And so, but they are all up there on the page. I don't know how you find them besides scrolling down. I don't know if on Facebook you can search videos on someone's page. But they're definitely there, and they've been viewed many times. And then there's also our YouTube channel. We didn't screen cap the Facebook videos, but we have the YouTube channel, and now that I think of it, I wonder if we can upload those from the iPad. I'll have to check on that. But the rest of the videos are all up there, like our crafty flash mob that we did.
Oh, yes.
That was so much fun a couple of years ago. That was, how long ago was that? That was a while ago. But we did a flash mob at CHA, and oh my gosh, that was hilarious. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's always fun, interesting events that happen with Charity Wings, and people can tune in, as you said, on YouTube and check out some of those fun events.
Definitely.
And I think one of the points that you brought up that I think is good to emphasize is how much the volunteers are involved with the program, both locally and in the craft and hobby world when you're doing your productions. So, and there's opportunities for people who might be even interested in helping you out at places like the trade show. And certainly if they're in Southern California, opportunities at the center. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Thank you. Yeah, we do have a lot of opportunities. Our tagline is to be a place to gather. We want people to come and use the space, give back. So we have the volunteer side and the fundraising side, and create. So gather, give back, and create is what we do. And the give back side is a really huge part of what we do, giving people the opportunity to volunteer. There are lots of organizations in my area here in San Marcos that require, I shouldn't say organizations, I'll call them institutions like schools, where they require the students to do community service. And if you have ever run a volunteer group or led a volunteer campaign or anything like that, volunteers are work to manage. So a lot of companies can't take them because they just don't have the manpower. And we've created a place here where we are open to and welcome volunteers. So we do take on interns. We take on people for service learning. High Tech High, which is a local institution here, they require the students to do a 1 month long internship in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that, but something like that. And then we get these kids that come every day during school hours to work at the art center instead of going to a regular school class. It's really cool. It's a really integrative and project learning based way of teaching kids. So we have that also. But we are always looking for volunteers. You do not even have to be in our area to volunteer. We have people that help us with our website, that help us with marketing campaigns, with graphics. Facebook and Twitter, we're always needing help for that. And then there's always the really, really easy things you can do, like just telling people about us and sharing what we do. That's a really huge, easy way to help the organization.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wonderful volunteer opportunities. And of course, volunteering on site for people to help with the various events that you have going on.
Yes.
You train folks in that.
We do. And we always need help with that. We have a few core people that I call on regularly, but volunteerism is not only is it work to manage volunteers, it's work to be a volunteer, and it's a commitment. So if you want to volunteer for an organization, I highly suggest you find one that you're really passionate about. Don't go volunteer for a pet organization if you're really not a pet person. You just won't, your follow through will be different. And what organizations really need is, we really need volunteers, but we need committed volunteers, so that if you say you're going to be there, or if you say you're going to do it, that it actually happens, and it's not the day of and you don't show up, or the day of and you say, oh, I didn't get a chance to finish that sign for you. Those are kind of the moments that nonprofit organizations really dread, and they happen all the time. So commitment.
Yeah, that's good advice, like you said, in general, for any type of volunteering. And then, of course, if people are interested in working at the trade show, I mean, it's a lot of work. There's hard floors. We do. The booths are padded, but, there's a lot of standing involved, and you have to be willing to be sociable and helpful to people. But there are opportunities to actually enjoy the trade show as well as do some really valuable work. I really enjoyed this past event for AFCI, the Creativation event, because we were making some fun fascinators that were like little top hats that had been created by Charity Wings.
We've had an amazing response to these little hats. It started with, we were going to be doing a tea time activity at the San Diego County Fair. And Terry, one of my amazing volunteers who does our nonprofit classes, she said, I said, we should make little hats. And she said, oh, well, you know what a hat is, right? And I said, what is it? And she said, an upside down cup. So she holds up a cup, turns it upside down. She said, we can cut a pattern for this. Well, little did we know we were going to be hand cutting these patterns for months and months and months, and cutting. I mean, I think in the end, it was 250 hats each weekend for 5 weekends. And then we did a Mad Hatter Tea Party for Mother's Day. And then we did hats at other places. And now we're doing them at expos. But the great part is Sizzix went ahead and created a die cut for this pattern for this mini hat. And now we have those die cuts that we are selling to raise money for Charity Wings. So it's the Charity Wings mini hat die cut on the Sizzix website. And they've been selling like hotcakes. I'm really, really pleased with how that whole campaign has gone. But the hats are so cute and so much fun. We have tons of pictures on our Facebook, on our Flickr, and on our YouTube. There's a video on how to put the hats together too.
Yeah, they're just basically cardboard and felt. I mean, I guess you could use some other materials as a base, but you embellish them with all kinds of fun things. So they really have an individual flair to them, don't they? Every
one of them comes out different. They are so cool. And Doris has been so great, because obviously to embellish these hats, we need really cool, fun things like feathers and birds and butterflies and stuff. So they stepped up and they have given us all of the embellishments to do these for a year. And that's so cute, like the little birds and the little butterflies. And then we make these giant feather like bunches. And then we use the Kunin felt, which is, we really feel good about that, because that's the felt that's upcycled from water bottles. So being able to use felt that's environmentally conscious is really great. So that's the Kunin felt. And then did you see that cordless Black & Decker hot glue gun?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, AdTech donated those glue guns for us to use, because we don't usually have power where we are. So taking it out and covering the world in little mini hats is kind of our mission this year.
Well, it's delightful. And so can you give us like the website and the Facebook site where people could go to check out that project and maybe some of the other things about Charity Wings?
Yeah, I think if anyone was to just Google the word Charity Wings, we come up hopefully at the top. I really hope. But our Facebook page is Charity Wings Art Center. And there's also a group, Charity Wings Art Center, but I would probably suggest people follow the page, and we would love for them to like and follow our page. We also have Charity Wings on YouTube, and then our website, charitywings.org. There is a link in there to shop, and that's where the mini fascinator hat die is. So that's on our website in the shop. It's a 25-inch die, so it's a big, long die, but it's only 6 inches, so you can use it in any of your standard die cutting machines. So that's really great. We didn't go to like a larger format. It's just long.
Right. And you do need a long platform for that. I'm sure, well, some of the listeners probably don't have a clue what a die cutting machine is, but in particular, Sizzix is one of the companies that makes a die cutting machine, and die cuts cut out a pattern for you of pieces so you don't have to sit there with scissors.
Right.
And
makes perfect shapes every time. So whether it's a star, a bird, or a box, they have a die cut for everything. And it's a 25-inch die. Most dies are 12 inches, I think. But you can also just move your platform and just move it down. So if you don't want to buy the longer cutting pads, you can just move the cutting pad over and do it twice.
Right. And it cuts pretty substantial material like the felt and cardboard and things. And that makes it easy, too, because if you're doing stuff like that by hand, it's hard on the fingers. Yes.
And the other thing it cuts is like leather or other thin materials. So we're working on some leather hats, too. Just like look.
How fun.
Yeah.
But I think, that in particular, I think the reason that particular die sells really well is because it's a fun thing to use for any kind of party that you might want. And of course, people like fun Mad Hatter tea parties and and
also like at New Year's Eve or St. Patrick's Day. We also made Minnie and Mickey hats for Disneyland. Lots and lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. So there's talking about creativity. That's a place where your creativity can run. And here's a way you can involve that in perhaps your own personal charitable efforts or your own personal fun and support a great organization like Charity Wings. Now, I'm sure people want to know, Elena, just a little bit about who you are. I mean, how did you get into this charity thing? I think it started, I've spoken to your mother, and I think this started when you were a very little girl.
Oh gosh, that's pretty funny. You have spoken to my mother.
I have.
She somehow shows up at these events. I'm like, who are you? No, I'm just kidding. I beg her to come because I know it's, having a daughter that's running a charitable art organization, I don't think that was her plan for me. I think it was more doctor, lawyer. So
I think it probably was too, but she's very proud of you.
She is. She's proud at those moments. But it's very interesting. I was a little kid and she did tell this story once, and I was surprised that she told it. But me and my brother had to raise money for our school, or, they give the little kids wrapping paper magazines or something, and you had to go out and you had to sell a certain number of whatever it was. I can't remember. And I went around and sold mine like in one day and probably just a few hours. And then I came back and my mom was like planning to just buy all the wallpaper or wrapping paper for Eric. And then she just handed the book to me and I went out and did all of my brother's sales too. I've always just really loved talking to people. And when you are doing something for a purpose, for a cause, for the quote unquote greater good, I just really get into that. And it's not because I'm such a great person. I've got my irritated, bitchy side too. But I really love doing things that are helping somebody. It's just, I don't know. That's just my personality. So people in need, that's my weak spot for sure. And so since I was a little kid, I've been the one that goes door to door and says, I'm going to read 100 books this summer. How much do you want to sponsor me for? And then as I got older, finding scrapbooking was a huge turning point in my life. I've always loved saving tickets and having photos and having little photo albums, but learning that you could make it into an art, which it really is an art form. I really got into scrapbooking for a while. And I went to a scrapbooking event called Survivor Crop. And it was a 24-hour event that my friend Sheila Goldsberry was doing. And we did this 24-hour scrapbooking event that was just crazy. And I saw all these women gathering and really coming together for a cause. That was for Susan G. Komen. And we raised a bunch of money. And I thought, I want to be on the committee to plan the next one because we could raise more. And we did. We started implementing things like You needed to raise a minimum of $100. And we had all sorts of little things that people could do to win prizes and stuff, and just made it something where if you raised a little more, we're going to do a little something for you. And it can be really little. People aren't looking for giant rewards for doing charity work. So getting all these women together and having them be in one place, it is just the perfect opportunity to raise money or awareness for something. And so then we started Scrapbook Royalty, and I don't even know where that name came from. It was just a funny thing to do, to just try for a couple of events. Actually, I really only planned to do one event, and then it rolled into the next event and then the next event. And now 11 years later, we have done hundreds and hundreds of events to raise money for other organizations. We've raised money in the first 6 years when we were Scrapbook Royalty. We raised money for about 82 different organizations. And it was about $500,000 that we raised just through little scrapbooking events. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
and I found my tiara the other day. You know, when we were Scrapbook Royalty, we wore tiaras.
We did wear stuff. We wore a lot of tiaras. And yeah, it was a fun thing. And then changing it to Charity Wings was such a huge blessing. Sheila was around for that too. So taking her from the scrapbooking world into the mixed media world and having her come with me on this journey was super, super helpful and wonderful, and having her support. And when we changed to Charity Wings, we wanted to be open to all genres of art. And now, you know, I don't really scrapbook anymore. I'm about saving things and having memories, but I don't really scrapbook. I'm way more of a media.
I firmly believe that Facebook is a form of digital scrapbooking.
Definitely. I believe that too, for sure. Yeah, Facebook is never allowed to go away, because how am I going to find my pictures? But how am I going to find out what happened on this day 6 years ago? Yeah. No, definitely. Facebook is digital scrapbooking. So, but now that we have the Art Center, you can literally do anything there. We have 5 electric wheels. We have 3 electric kilns. So we do ceramics. We're trying to find someone to get us into fused glass. So we're looking for someone to come in and teach classes on that. We do, so we do ceramics. We have metal smithing. We have solder, torches, everything for wood burning. We don't cut wood in the Art Center, not anything other than like drilling a hole, because it's too dusty and we don't have a vent for that. But everything for painting, there's 15 sewing machines, a serger, embroidery machine, every color and type of felt you could ever want, cut pieces of felt, bolts of felt, tons of fabric, every color yarn, knitting needles, crochet hooks, tons of vintage ephemera, palettes, canvases, everything to make whatever you want at the Art Center. We have tie-dye, we have etching cream, we have digital cutters, we have tons of die cuts, and I don't think there's anything you can't do at the Art Center. We have
and you didn't even mention one of your passions, which is jewelry making.
Jewelry making. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I love making jewelry, and we have so many beads and baubles and buttons and things to make really cool jewelry with polymer clay. We have tons of polymer clay from Makins, and they were a huge supporter, have been a huge supporter in giving us tools and things like that too. It's a crazy, amazing place.
Right. And you take that even outside of your charity work. You run some book clubs, don't you?
We do. We call them book clubs, but that's just the kind of generic term for it. But we have several like meetup type groups. So one, we have a mosaic group. We have a scrapbooking group, we have an art journaling group, and we have a mixed media group. And we just started in November open mic night. So the second Tuesday of the month, we do open mic, and that has been fantastic. Bringing the visual arts or just any kind of performing arts into the Art Center has been really cool.
Yeah, it's all very comprehensive and fun. Now, I think sometimes people say, oh, well, that's a cool idea. Why don't I start it in my community? And,
Yes.
Well, that's a great idea. And I'm sure Elena can offer expertise in that. It's a big job.
It's a huge undertaking. And I have many people who have come to me and said, I want to do what you're doing. And the first thing I tell people is, if you are doing this to support your life, if you need this as income, this is not the job for you, unless you're already independently wealthy or something. And not because I'm independently wealthy, but because I'm struggling through this process. A lot of people think I can open an art center and make a good living. I don't know any art centers that will tell you that that's what's happening. Art is definitely not your big money maker. You really don't make money. I mean, it's the truth. You have to die first before your art is really worth a whole lot. So,
unfortunately,
support your family of four. But if you have a big charitable heart and you want to open an art center, I definitely am here to give advice on the steps to becoming a nonprofit organization, to finding a space, to working with the manufacturers and community to really build a beautiful space. I haven't had anyone take me up on it. I've told people come shadow me for a day or two and see what it's like to do what I do. And I haven't had anyone continue after they've shadowed me. So
it's an enormous amount of work.
I'm scaring people into reality. But
it is a worthwhile effort. And, and your reach is far more than just your own community, which I think is wonderful.
It definitely is a big reach that we have, but I haven't been able to cookie cutter this art center for people to reproduce, which would be the ultimate goal. So when people say, what's your 3-5 year goal? My plan is to make this place work and be sustainable and financially sound so that other people can open art centers. They can take our format and go open them in other cities. I haven't quite gotten it there yet. It's really a daily grind right now, and we definitely live hand to mouth, but it's amazing. There's no feeling like having an organization that truly benefits anyone. When people say, oh, I raise money for breast cancer, I raise money for animals or whatever, that is all really awesome. And people have to go do those things. But what we have is a place where literally everyone is welcome. There is no one that we turn away. You can be any age, any size, any color, any ability level, and you can come and make things at the art center. I mean, art literally transcends all boundaries. There's no one who's not welcome here.
I know that for a fact. I mean, you're very welcoming. And as long as people aren't disruptive, even the homeless are welcome there. They can drop by.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that happens.
It happens on occasion. Now, however, you're in a area that's very nice. It's right by the university, and
yes.
You have a lot of interesting college students and fun people who are involved.
We have 900 college students that live above us. We are in the Quad San Marcos, across the street from Cal State University, San Marcos, and those 900 college students that live above us, some of them find their way down and they come to Party Arty. They get free membership as students. And it's really a very fun place. And sometimes, because they're college students, they make us crazy, but we still love them.
That's a really fun aspect of it. It's a very lively community and interesting people. What I wanted to go to now in the conversation was a little bit about what creativity means to you and how you see creativity. I mean, we see it in the community. You see it as a place to give and things. But I think if you could expand on that a little bit, it would be interesting.
On how we go out into the community?
I think a little bit about what creativity means to you. I mean, I know the charity means a lot, but how about this whole thing about being a creative person?
Yeah, I use art as my healing tool. So when I'm sad, the first thing I want to do is, or actually not even when I'm just sad, when I'm feeling an emotion, when I'm needing to document something, when I'm needing to be outside of just my own little bubble and my own little world, I can venture into a canvas or a piece of jewelry and lose myself for a little while. It is absolutely a healing tool for me. My artwork that hangs in my house and the artwork that I make is usually very emotional, and it comes from my heart and my gut, and it's usually very raw. So for me, I believe that everyone needs to have some creative outlet. And I also have a strong belief that creativity is the foundation of everything that we do. It's the building blocks of what makes us good, productive, contributing people in this society. So being able to think outside the box, being able to think creatively, it's really, really a foundation and a building block. So them taking creativity out of the schools and not having it as I shouldn't say creativity, but taking art classes out of schools is really just a tragic mistake. Thank goodness not all schools have done that. And some of them still do have art, culture, and drama and creativity in their daily classes. But we want to make sure that that exists. And so for me, creativity is something you have to feed your soul with in order to go on with your daily life. Just spending a few minutes doing something creative, even if it is just doing your little blog posts on Facebook, I think people do get really creative when they're making the posts on Facebook just to make them funny, make them witty, or make them poignant. Or even when they're just posting pictures of food and they put the right filter on it, that's a creative moment. And you really do get lost for a few minutes doing a post. And they do take time if you're actually really doing them. So any creative outlet, I feel very strongly, is really important for everyone to have. I
think you made some really good points. And I think that's what creativity means a lot to me, too, a form of expression. And considering I think one of my most recent Facebook post was about food. It was really good last night. I love that chicken parmesan. I'll send you the recipe. It was scrumptious. Too many calories maybe, but it was scrumptious. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you. I mean, I know you quite well, Elena, but this is a wonderful opportunity to learn more about Charity Wings and about you. And I think we've covered pretty much everything. Anything else that you can think of here?
Just if people would like to support, I would love for them to come to the Art Center, visit our website. Number one would be visit our website. And if you are so inclined, become a supporter. We have just a heart supporter, HEART. That's $10 a month if you can afford a couple of Starbucks to put towards Charity Wings in our efforts. We really want to grow the organization and get it to where we can open more of these. Every city needs a place like this.
I think that's a very wonderful goal. And of course, what we need to do is let people know once again where they can find you so that they can become involved. So why don't you go through the places where people can find Charity Wings?
So go to our Facebook page, Charity Wings Art Center, the website, charitywings.org. We have a YouTube channel, Charity Wings. We're on Instagram as Charity Wings. I'm always up for making new friends, so I'm on there under Elena Lai Etcheverry under Facebook and Instagram, and I leave my wall open pretty much. I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to Charity Wings and what we're doing. So those are the basic places. We do have a newsletter, so when you go into our website, it'll ask you if you'd like to join our newsletter. We would love to have you follow us there too.
That's wonderful. And I've really enjoyed this conversation with you today. And thanks for visiting with us.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Karen. Really appreciate the support.
Thanks so much for listening to a Creative Approach podcast today. If you have not already done so, I hope you'll subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. Please check the podcast out on its Facebook page, where I keep you up to date on our latest episodes. I'd also love if you'd become a member of the Creative Approach podcast Facebook group, where you can share your thoughts and where you'll find additional news posted. Also, check out the website at www.acreativeapproachpodcast.com. My team and I are working on developing a great home for fans of the show. On the site, you'll find a Patreon page tab for those who want to offer monetary support for the podcast. I look forward to sharing a conversation with a very exciting guest on the next episode, and sign off today with best wishes in your creative approaches to life.